Sagittarius. Welcome to your Sagittarius reading, whether you are Sun, Moon, Rising, or anybody with any other Sagittarian placements in your chart, or if you just feel generally drawn to Sagittarius energy, you're welcome here today. I've already pulled a spread, and I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to get some more cards to clarify it. And yeah, this will be your reading. So yeah, and you don't even have to have Sagittarius placements in your chart. Like I was saying, you could be somebody who just is really feeling the intensity of this season at the moment, of Sagittarius season. And this is just, it's a time that has a lot of important lessons for you. And so if that's the case, yeah, welcome here too. This is Alcyone Tarot. My name is Jess, and yeah, here we go. I was meditating on your reading last night. I drew some cards and I wrote some notes, and there's a lot of really, 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 I would say, really good energies here. So if you're looking for some confirmation that you're on the right track, I think you've come to the right place. But we're going to get more information. But yeah, first of all, I guess we're going to start with, I'm using the Everyday Witch Tarot today. It's a little mini tarot deck, so hopefully I'll hold the cards up to the camera, and hopefully you'll be able to see the detail in them, because it's a really cute deck. And hold on a second. And it's very it is very kind of energetic and fun, and I think it's really good for a Sagittarius reading. So yeah, so with the beginning of your reading, we started out here with this is the first card that came out, and I absolutely love that this came out. I hope you can see that there. This is the Ace of Swords, and it's just such a wonderfully Sagittarian card to open with. So the Ace of Swords can often be almost a stern or forbidding card, but I don't know if you notice with the card, I can hold it up to the camera again, you can see the sword surrounded by butterflies, and it really expresses the pure joy of just an idea. This is it, this is the idea, I've got it, that feeling of I've got it. I'm just going to hold up the card again. So really, it's a very strong card to start the reading out with, and I feel like Sagittarians out there, I think you might have that feeling right now of just, I've got it, this is the idea, I don't want to say I've got the answer, I think it's more the solution, and some kind of simple idea that can help you cut through a lot and help you move forward. So yeah, with the surrounding card, we have the Moon and the Lovers on the right, and I'll show you the cards just to give you an idea of the sense that I was getting from them. So first of all, I feel like the Lovers, the people on this card, it's not that easy to see with the lighting here, but you might be able to see there's an equality to the people on the card. It almost, their gender almost doesn't look particularly defined to me. I think on the card, I don't know the date of this deck or anything. Not that it matters, but I feel like maybe certain older decks would be more likely to depict like traditional like pet relationships or whatever. And it seems, I think one of these figures is a man and a woman, but they look pretty kind of equal, and it's almost like hard to tell what gender they are, so maybe that means something for you. And there's also, it seems like there's a real strength in their unity together. It feels like there's a real strength in this decision that they've made to move forward. You can see their hands joined as if they've sort of made a pact together, and they're staring into the light. They're staring into the future there. There's a warmth, there's a sense of conviction about this decision they've made together, and there's a sense of mutual support. So, you know, I think the lovers often represents love, but it also represents a choice and a decision and something that aligns with your highest self, I guess. So I'm seeing it as a choice, but I feel like it's also a choice that you feel supported in. And whether it's by you're supported by your, you just feel that you can support yourself in this choice, you feel that you have a lot of inner confidence about this choice, or whether it's that there's somebody else by your side. I think that there's been sort of this pact that you've made with yourself or another or both to move forward. Yeah, and the other card that we have on the other side is the moon. And if you can see this card, I hope you can see this card. It's so cute. There's a cat looking at itself in the water, and the cat looks larger than he is in life. In fact, in the water, it's a little domestic cat staring into the water, but the reflection in the water is actually a large panther. And I mean, the moon does speak of illusions, so there is something in this card about maybe seeing yourself as bigger than you are. But to me, there's something that I think you have a handle on this. I don't think that this is, I mean, it could be something to watch out for, of course. You know, Sagittarius is associated with Jupiter, which is associated with expansion, and it can result in overconfidence. But the way that I see it is that this Jupiter energy that is known for magnifying and expanding, and maybe magnifying is a different concept, you know, expansiveness speaks about expanding ever outwards and maybe losing touch with some sort of center. But I think that magnifying is something magnifying the details is something maybe we see more with Gemini. And I have to point out as well that Jupiter is still in Gemini right now, so I think that's interesting that your ruler is in the sign of Gemini. So maybe at the moment you are looking at the details more. But I feel like, yeah, you could get too big for yourself as a Sagittarius, and we all can. But I don't see this as something that's particularly a problem right now. I think that sometimes enlarging things makes them simpler, makes them easier to be understood, more intelligible. Not just for yourself, but for others. And it doesn't have to be weighty or ponderous. And so, yeah, the other surrounding cards here, we've got the Page of Cups. And this feels kind of fresh and energetic, but it also feels quite, the Page of Cups is not a card of ego. It may be it's a card of naivety at times, but it's a card of, all the pages have a certain level of humility about them. They could have arrogance too, because they're associated, you know, it's kind of like a youthful energy. I'd say the Page of Wands is probably the one that maybe has the most arrogance, but the Page of Cups is generally got this kind of sweet humbleness about the card. Somebody who's really wearing their heart on their sleeve. So, yeah, you know, there's a student energy. And we also see him at an easel. And so, I think I see this guy as like, he's trying to depict something for others. You know, trying to illustrate something, trying to make something intelligible for others. And he's doing it in a very faithful way, you know, trying to illuminate something that that he feels is very important and that should be communicated. But it might be not be that easy to communicate it in a way that others understand. There's a difference here between the Page of Swords, which is there's a real clarity to, I think, how you're feeling yourself, Sagittarius. But I think you're understanding that, like, that might not be clear to others, and so there's some need for sensitivity in communicating this big idea that you have to other people. Yeah, so yeah, I think that you've been thinking things through quite a lot, but I think you've also been feeling things through, and I think you've been acting things through. What I mean by that is that I think you haven't been staying at home to reflect. I think you've been sort of going out and about to reflect. You've been getting out to reflect, if that makes sense. You've been putting yourself in new situations. I guess that's quite Sagittarian, is just to get out there. But I think maybe even for you it's a bit of a surprise, you know, because there's a sense of newness about these revelations, and it feels like you're not getting your revelations from the typical places. You're not getting them from the academic places. You're getting them from real experience, like the immediacy of experience, like people and life. I mean, Sagittarius can be very adventurous and can want to just get out there, engage with the world, engage with people, but could also be quite academic and book bound and wanting to learn the theory of things. So I feel that, like, whatever's going on with you right now, whatever this big idea is that you have, it's not, it may have crystallized into something it makes a lot of sense intellectually, but it's not coming from a theory, it's not coming from books, it's coming from experience. And this is why I think it might be more difficult for you to explain to other people. Yeah, I think there's something here as well. If you see just below the Ace of, or the Page of Cups, the next cards we've got the Four of Swords, we've got the Hermit, and we've got the Three of Cups. And at the bottom of the deck, actually, I just looked at the bottom of the deck, and there she was. There they were. There you are. It's the Fool. The Fool's been coming up quite a lot lately, for me anyway, and I've seen it in a lot of, like, online, or a lot of YouTube readers. I think, you know, the dawning of Pluto in Aquarius is sort of bringing the idea of this new beginning, this radical new beginning, to the forefront. I was about to say Age of Aquarius, but I don't even know what that is. That's different from Pluto in Aquarius. So yeah, I think it's got to do with constellations, whereas Pluto in Aquarius has to do with Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. So yeah, so with the Fool here, like, there's this same energetic, just ecstatic, joyful energy of just this new idea here that's kind of simple, and it looks like it kind of has the key to really a lot of things that you've been reflecting on, a lot of things that you want to try and change. So yeah, as I said, we have the Four of Swords, the Three of Cups, and the Hermit. And it just seems like, yeah, at the moment it's something strange, where it's almost like you're participating with others, but you're doing a lot of kind of hanging out or partying, maybe but you're also kind of in the world but not of the world. And I sort of feel like it could kind of go both ways. I feel like with the Hermit and with the Four of Swords, I think maybe for some Sagittarius, they're maybe taking a break from social activities, but I still feel that there's some sense here of and maybe the Page of Cups is you too. You're doing something, you're learning something. This guy is painting on a canvas here, so could be something that really feeds your soul that you're learning at the moment. And maybe you're staying away from the more sort of heavily social, heavy social obligations or heavily social activities. But I do feel you're almost like learning through your interactions with the world as well. You're learning through like the rough and tumble of the world, and that you could be getting out there, you're participating with others. It doesn't have to be that tame. I'm actually seeing something that could be a little bit bacchanalian here. I'm actually seeing like I'm seeing kind of maybe sleeping off a night out here or something like that. And it's almost like in having this sort of nighttime existence, it allows you to reflect, and it allows you to sort of gain a new perspective on your everyday existence. Like there's a part of you that you're letting loose. There's a part of you that you're letting to go and roam at night, like with this cat here, and to look at yourself and to see yourself as larger than life, as more colorful, and to have a little bit of fun, and maybe like work and all those activities have to keep going, but you kind of found this other part of yourself. You found this like maybe alter ego a little bit, where you get to let go. I feel like you may be trying to explain something to others that they just maybe can't quite understand. Maybe there's some choices you're making that they don't seem like sensible. They're not like informed, like they're not informed by the books and the textbooks. Like I said, they're informed by you might look impulsive to others in the moment, but I don't think you are actually being impulsive. I think there's something that you're trying to find a simple way of explaining to others as well that maybe for you is less reducible. It's like, this is simple, but then simplicity is not a simple concept either. Simplicity is arrived at, it's a point that's arrived at by many roots, and in a way it contains all of those roots, like this solution, this place you've arrived at. The point of it that it's not that it's like everyone can understand, or everyone can understand immediately. The point is that it's like an elegant distillation of everything that's been done, that it's like this wonderful formula that kind of contains all that you've been experimenting with. And so I feel like what I heard when I was thinking about this yesterday is explain it like I'm 5. I don't know if you've heard of that Reddit, but it's like you have this idea, but you don't maybe even really care to explain where it comes from, but others seem to demand some kind of like process or these kind of steps from you, some kind of report. And you do want, I do sense that you do want to sort of report back, and you do want to report back like for, you know, there is an ill will here towards others. There is a goodwill in wanting to speak your truth, but for you the idea is felt more than in your body, I think. I mean, I think you're definitely quite sure of this idea, and we're going to get into what that is. But I think you're prepared to sleep on it as well. And if you see here, the Hermit in this card looks like she's asleep, but she's actually meditating. So there's something about, you might look like you're asleep, but you're not. You might look like you're acting unconsciously and impulsively to others, but you're not. Actually, you're very present. So yeah, I also feel like you are prepared. You are maybe perhaps sorting the truth from reality, from the illusion of the moon, that you are trying to separate what you saw through the wine goggles from reality. But it's almost like when you were enjoying yourself, you had a vision of what life could be, even if it isn't now. So it's not that you're under illusions about what is happening now, it's that I think when you've been enjoying yourself and throwing yourself into these pursuits, and you've just been allowing yourself to do that lately, and it's what you have channeled is you're channeling what things could be, how things could be better. And in this way, this idea isn't so much an answer, final answer, it's a way through. So, and this is apt because you're Sagittarius, you're the seeker, you're the wayfinder. I think there's definitely some kind of a real mental idea, and it's going to be different for everybody, every Sagittarius. And it's an idea about, a very concrete idea about how to go forward. I really think one really big important message in this reading today is that it's not that you're figuring out what makes you happy, but you're gaining truth from being happy, for moments of being silly, for even being inebriated, from being a bit mad and crazy and just putting yourself out there. It doesn't have to be with people, it doesn't have to involve substances, of course, and you know, it's not always a good road for everybody, in moderation, but it could just be by yourself. I think a lot of you, though, it is with others. There is a sense of this bacchanalian experience with other people. And I think basically it's like you're gaining these insights from this abandon, this sense of abandon and letting go. I think, yeah, in general, though, you still feel like there's something you feel strongly about that others just maybe wouldn't understand. And when you're becoming larger than life, maybe in these at these events, I actually feel like what's happening is that it doesn't mean getting above yourself. What it actually could mean is that maybe you've been kind of acting like a bit of a goof or a clown to put others at their ease, which is very, very Sagittarian. But in reality, even though you're kind of trying to put others at their ease about what's going on with you and trying to sort of bring it, so you're making yourself bigger, you're making yourself more sort of clown-like, but like that's to make yourself smaller in a way. But in reality, it actually is a lot more serious to you, what you're discovering. And one thing that I thought, actually, because I was thinking about getting the cards out for you, and I was like, you know, I know people will like to see readers shuffle the cards because then they can know that it's like happening in front of them, and there is this divination going on and the randomness and so on. I was like, I'm terrible at shuffling cards, but I should shuffle cards for the sake of authenticity. And then that phrase jumped out at me, and I was thinking, you know, what is it to be authentic? And then you have to prove that to others. You know, people act like being authentic is somehow natural and easy, but living your truth ain't easy, you know, and I think you know that a lot more than others, Sagittarius. So one question I asked before, when I was meditating on this reading, is what am I missing here? because it all seems very positive. It feels like there's this kind of barreling motion, this like barreling momentum. It's all rolling along really positively for you. You don't know where you're going, but you have this good idea about how to get somewhere. And I when I asked that question, the cards I got were the page, or sorry, the Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. And one thing I just want to say right now as well is that just just little outtake from reading is that sometimes I kind of mix up things, like I might say the wrong name of a card or something. So if the card looks different to you, if you know what the card is and I'm saying the wrong thing, don't necessarily take my word for it, because it's just some issues I have, neurodivergent issues and so on, where I might mix up words. But yeah, moving on from that, basically, yeah, I got the Knight of Pentacles and I also got the Six of Swords. And what I'm seeing basically, basically, is that this has been a long time coming. You have been very patient. You've been very persistent. You've even looked back quite a lot on your journey. This is a card of mental energy and thinking, and really mentally processing what you're doing, and the changes you're making. You've not been. This isn't some impulsive idea after a party. Like, it's long thought through. And we have this other deck that I'm using, as well as the Practical Witch Tarot, or whatever it's called, Everyday Witch Tarot, the La Luz deck. And I'm just using this for a bit of contrast to kind of get into more of like the subconscious themes here. And so these three cards also tell that story. They're telling me the story here with the Knight of Wands and with the Two of Swords, which it seems to use like a forest to represent this sort of Two of Swords, like stasis or stalemate or compromise here, is that the Knight of Wands had to cut through something, and they had to do it. There was no question. If you see this Knight of Wands, it's very Sagittarius. It's sort of, I mean, it's a lion, so that's more associated with Leo, but like this kind of like on horseback, on lion back, becoming one with this like animal nature, but also really determined. This is much more determined and less carefree than, you know, a Knight of Wands that we might see in another deck. They had to cut through this. And the other card here we have is the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles is some kind of hardship. It could be, there's something you had to get out of. You see the ladder there? It's even poverty, even like severe financial hardship. There's heartbreak there as well. This has been a long time coming. What you're celebrating, the celebration that's going on now, is very much deserved. So we're going to ask some questions, and we're going to ask a few questions about what is this idea? What is this idea? So this is where we're going to ask that question first. And here we go. I'm really rubbish at shuffling cards, but so you can see what's happening. I've got the candle, like conveniently placed candle to protect my modesty here, but you can see that we're really doing this. This is really happening. It's authentic. It's real. Okay, what have we got here? Page of Pentacles. What is this idea? Okay, what is the idea? that Sagittarius has had, that's going to change things for Sagittarius. On another page, we have the Page of Swords as well. Wow, we've got almost all the pages out. Let's see. That's interesting. And we've got the Seven of Wands. Let's get one more. Here's my little tiny deck, just so you can see. I tend to actually just take the cards right out of the deck as I feel drawn to them. Sometimes they fall out, but that's how I feel drawn, is just I almost feel like an energy from a particular card. I can feel like the card that I want to take out of the deck. So we've got the Nine of Cups. Okay, one more. We've got the Two of Wands. Okay. Okay, so what is this idea that Sagittarius has come up with that's so powerful, that feels like it can really kind of cut through and provide a way forward? So we've got the Page of Pentacles here. We've got the Page of Swords. I'm going to hold that up a little bit more so you can see it. And he's got a map in front of him, and there's crossroads, and there's also a castle and a town in the distance. Then we've got the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords has got a lot of reading materials on him that you can see. And he looks quite fierce as well. Then we have the Seven of Wands. There's somebody here who looks like they're defending themselves. They're trying to carve out a space where they can defend themselves. You know what the Seven of Wands is about. Maybe you don't. So this is the Nine of Cups then. It's someone here who's just enjoying themselves, relaxing on a beach. And they're meditating, you know. They've really, I think they've got to a point where they don't need to reflect so much on the world around them and then everybody else, but like they're sort of, I see a gratitude in this, and it's interesting because I think the Nine of Cups is often associated with kind of a self-centeredness, having what you want, having your desires. Not always. It's got like light and shadow sides, but here I see this kind of sense of gratitude, that you're happy to be where you are and that you're happy for what you have. We also have the Two of Wands here. You're looking out, and you're actually looking into your crystal ball, but you're in an elevated position here, so you could see everywhere around you. You could see, you know, the landscape if you wanted to decide where you're going to go next. So yeah, it seems to me that this idea has got something to do with I think it's like figuring out how you get to a point where you figured out how you get to a point where you're satisfied enough that you don't actually feel like you have to protect yourself all the time, and you don't feel that whatever this Nine of Cups, whatever this sense of satisfaction is something that has to be particularly involved with other people or fending off other people or their opinions or anything like that, you know. And in a way I feel like it's almost about being a better person. I feel there's something about how when you get what you want, you're going to be a better person, weirdly enough. You're not going to have to defend yourself. You're also maybe not going to have to tell everybody all the time and teach everybody all the time about what they should already know. You're not going to have to hours and hours and hours and hours into planning. You know, sometimes the path of least resistance is actually the best route. But again, you don't always find that route straight away. So it does take a lot of complexity. It does take a lot of study to get there, to find that right route. In terms of specifics for you Sagittarians, what am I seeing here? There's something about a I think there's something about a course of study that's maybe not so serious. Like it could be a course of study in something that you maybe wouldn't have considered before. Some kind of um, it could be, you know, that maybe you want your job to be a little bit more fun. Who doesn't? But and it doesn't even have to be your job. It could be just like it also feels as well. There's something about how you've maybe gotten to a particular point with your career, and instead of learning being something that's utilitarian, that's advancing you in a certain direction, that's like material, or that's like, you know, financial, or bound towards your security, like you've got to this point where you're just like, I think that I need to learn about something for the sake of learning about it. I think that I need to broaden my horizons to kind of get out of the rat race a little bit rather than to defend against it, if that makes sense. There could be as well a choice between, it could be a choice between maybe the rat race and like going back to study something. Yeah, I'm seeing you maybe thinking about studying something like hospitality, or something that could give you the opportunity to do a job that's not the same job, not quite the same job that you did before. Perhaps more of a job involving people, or involving maybe even relocating somehow. Um, so I'm gonna ask another question here. I'm gonna and then we're gonna close it. Just a second. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get another few answers to our questions, because I want to know who's with you in this Sagittarius. You know, you have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of plans, and you've been through a lot. And firstly, I want to know, yeah, who's supporting you in this Sagittarius? Who or what is supporting you in this? And also maybe who or what is blocking you. Okay. Ha! We have all of the pages out now. This is amazing. I love it. Page of Wands. Okay. Who is supporting you? Wow, and we've got both the King of Swords and the King of Wands. That's so interesting. So who or what? And now I said what, but we've got like a lot of cards that indicate actual people here. So who or what is blocking you? Okay. We have the Empress. We have the Eight of Swords. And we have Temperance. I'm gonna get one more here too. Also the Tower. Wow. Okay. So who or what is supporting you? Who's in your corner, Sagittarius? So we've got the Page of Wands. Each of these cards has a cat on them. You might have noticed. There's a ginger cat there for some reason, and there's a lot of like red in this. I know this is associated with the wands, but for some reason I'm thinking, I'm just, it's going to be different for everyone. Is there a redhead? Is there somebody, a redhead who's in your corner? Or maybe it's somebody that you met in the autumn. Maybe it's something or somewhere, some idea that you had in the autumn, or someone that you met in the autumn. The King of Wands here. So it could be an older man or a mature man. It could be a mentor figure, but if it is a mentor, it's somebody who's not. Well, we'll see. The King of Wands tends to be more of a kind of an active authority figure. He gets his hands dirty. He's not just sitting there in his office. And with the Page of Wands here, we have that energy as well. It's almost like a teacher who can also be a student, or can like relate to students. It doesn't have to be a man. It could be just someone with a kind of like, or with just like a kind of authoritative energy, or male energy. And that's not to say that men always are the ones with that energy, but these cards can help us like pick out the actual people in the reading. But we also got the King of Swords. Now the King of Swords is much more of a sort of an academic, much more detached. So, but it's like there's something or someone who's academic and enough to be very smart and very discerning. There's also like caring and hands-on and almost fun-loving and engaging enough to understand what it could be a boss as well, to understand what people need. And I think as well, it's like that idea of leadership, I think, is dawning on people, that leaders can be less removed, less detached, that they can be almost like, connected with people, and in fact that they must be, they should be. So this could be yourself as well, Sagittarius. It could be that you're discovering your own inner authority, but that your inner authority doesn't have to keep you chained. You can still be this like free, footloose person with the handkerchief on their back, all their worldly belongings wrapped in a handkerchief on their back. That's very Sagittarian. But it's like maybe you have somebody in your corner saying that you can do that, or letting you know that you can do that. And it's interesting because a lot of the energy before was based on you kind of going out there and almost disappearing in the crowd, and maybe not revealing your ideas or your true motivations. But it seems like maybe you're revealing them to key people you really trust. Or it could be that maybe there's somebody that you trust, or there's people that you trust, and they're showing you what you could be. And they're also showing you that what you could be doesn't have to be limited by these rules about what you should or shouldn't do. So sometimes when you go to university, you have a good time if you're going to university, or it doesn't have to be university, or any learning environment at all. Any environment at all. It could be like a job where you're working with a lot of other people in a restaurant or something, and there's older and younger people working together, or any job, anything where you're working with a bunch of people with different levels of experience, and you're having a really good time because you're learning a lot, but you're also socializing. It's like the learning happens at different levels. It's happening at like the mental, intellectual level, but it's also happening, you're learning skills, or you're learning ideas, but it's also happening like socially and things like that, So I feel like maybe there's something like that going on, that in the background there may be some kind of structure with learning, or perhaps it's someone who's maybe saying to you, maybe you can go further in your studies, or you can go further in your learning, and you can go further than you think you think you can. But it also doesn't have to be this huge deal. It doesn't have to be um, this these like this gravitas, like these like extra set of laurels. It could just be like continuing to learn, continuing to yeah, I see that there's like a lot of planning going on here with both of these, and both of these figures here. So I also feel like uh whoever or whatever is on your side has recognized, acknowledges and supports the need to plan these dreams and these adventures, to plan them out maybe more carefully, like okay, you know, maybe I want to go on a trip. Maybe I'm sick of the hometown where I'm stuck, or it doesn't have to be your hometown, whatever town you're living in. I want to go on some kind of a sabbatical, or a holiday, or longer trip, or a shorter trip, or I want to just travel more, I want to learn more. But whatever I'm doing in the future, it's going to be something that I'm going to actually, rather than just do it once and then come back to life, and then, you know, back to life, back to reality. It's that I'm going to build this into my life. You know, I'm going to build this lifelong learning, or this like traveling as a hobby into my life. I feel like there's more here. I don't know. There's something here. I'm not. I think I'm going to do another question about what I'm missing, but we'll get to that. Um, so what is blocking you here? The Empress. We've also got the Eight of Swords. That's no fun. And we've got Temperance. And we've got the Tower. Now, I want you to take a bit of a good look at this card. I hope you can see it properly. I'm not sure if the lighting is not great, etc. But I'll just tell you, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but I'll tell you that the expression of this woman on the card, this witch, this person, who is like an expression of sort of there's a mischief, or a mischief is actually too lighthearted. This is somebody who's really stirring the shit here and enjoying the destruction they're causing. I don't know who this is, I don't know what this force is, but you've got Temperance here. I feel this is you trying to hold it together, trying to hold all the elements together. And then there's this Empress here. It's almost like you're expected to be this Empress here, and to hold things together and to look after others. But then this kind of like, there's something undermining you here that's like blowing it up, and they're almost enjoying doing that. And they're enjoying the fact that you feel kind of trapped here perhaps by like some kind of like feminine obligation. What the hell? I don't actually mean feminine obligation. What I meant to mean is an obligation to act caring or care for others, which, if you're whoever you are, people in caring roles, or women, or anyone at all with feminine energy, can feel pushed into, and expected to continue to do that at their own expense, even when it's keeping them trapped. Just a second. So yeah, I think that's what's holding you back. Someone is kind of undermining you constantly, undermining your attempts to hold things together, but also trying to, or it could be just like something within yourself, or it could be like, it could be a mother figure. It could be the mother figure that you're supposed to be in any context. Or it could be expectations because of your gender, expectations because of your character. And you know, it could be coming from yourself, your history, yeah, your parents, or just maybe an influence in your life, like a family member or something like that. But either way, this Empress here, they have, I think she has a lot of cares, you know, although she's in this beautiful, beautiful garden, you can see she's got a lot to think about. There are the fruit trees growing. There's her, she looks pregnant here. So she's thinking about what she has to care for. She's thinking about what's growing. She's thinking about the harvest. She's thinking about maybe a pregnancy or something like that. And yeah, but I do feel that there's this energy that's almost like using that against you to like collapse your sense of inner certainty, your sense of authority, and to also keep you distracted and to keep you cleaning up after people, to be quite honest, trying to hold it together. um yeah, so I'm not a fan of this energy, but I think, but I think it's interesting that in the supporting energy it's quite masculine. I wonder if maybe there's something here, maybe with the Three of Cups as well, where you have like, you know, historically maybe you vibe more with women, or you know, and there's something here with that, that's not gone away, but there could be like something within a group where somebody is being toxic and you're being exposed to maybe the dark side of like femininity, feminine energy, not femininity, I guess. And you're understanding that it's actually okay to have a sense of authority. It's actually okay to have, you know, like it appears to me that with this kind of celebration that's happening, you're going exactly as far as you want to go. So no one can really judge you because um, if you're going to excess, you decided to, and I feel like, you know, you did it to get something out of your system. You did it to um, you know, let go your inhibitions. It's actually healthy for you, and you've made that decision. And some people might be like, well, you're like not meeting your responsibilities. You're not acting as uh, you know, caring or as demure as we expect you to be, or something like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna get like a few more cards and then we'll close it out. I want to know what's going on. This is, I'm gonna use this deck here, the Lulu's deck. I want to know what's going on in the background to this. Um, what is influencing you in your past? That, or just, yeah, what's influencing you that, okay. Queen of Cups. And and the Page of Cups. Wow. Knight of Swords. I think what's influencing you here is maybe there's some sort of relationship. It looks like maybe a mother-child relationship. It looks like maybe there was some figure in your life. Maybe it was your mother, maybe it was somebody else, or some woman you knew, or it doesn't have to be a woman, someone with feminine energy, or someone with this Queen of Cups kind of dreamy energy, that you felt that you needed to be very gentle with, and they were a little fragile, you know, and maybe you could have been maybe too young perhaps when you were experiencing this, for this sort of emotional responsibility that was put on you. You may have felt confused by this person, this older person. um, we also have the Knight of Swords, so there was a need to cut through this energy, this Page of Cups, Queen of Cups, this very coy kind of energy. It looks as well like this Queen of Cups almost really looks very sad, like they're drowning or something, you know. And so it felt like here you're covering your mouth as well, like, or whoever's in this card, it doesn't have to be you. They're covering their mouth, so it's like, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But yet, with the Knight of Swords here, you had to cut through, but that may have felt harsh. But it wasn't harsh, it was necessary. So it feels like that's kind of the background to this somehow. That there's some kind of sadness maybe related to people who aren't really taking care of themselves. And so, and they're expecting you to sort of speak softly, really always softly. It's like someone who has a migraine or something, that the lights need to be out, that the curtains need to be drawn, that no one speaks around the house. And then as Sagittarius, you have this really strong energy of thought, this strong intellectual energy, and you know that you need to move forward. But there's sadness, there's a lot of sadness, and like what will happen if I upset somebody. And I think that's the deep context of this. But I think in your life right now, I think you're doing pretty well with yourself, and I think you're at peace. But I still think that there's something maybe holding you back when you feel that others are not at peace. Like, you're at peace here, and you're not. I don't think you're being selfish here. I think you're actually quite grateful for what you have, but you're sort of feeling like, well, I have to keep this on the DL. I have to keep my new ideas, my new direction on the DL, because it might upset somebody. It's almost like if you made the decision to go after your what you really want here, somebody else is still here. Somebody else is like still stuck, and you're going to be like betraying them somehow, So that's the real difficult energy behind this. We're going to get one more card. So how do you move beyond that sense of obligation, and how do you, I don't know, even find a way to understand that what you're doing is actually, even perhaps like by extending care to yourself, that you're providing a better example to other people, I suppose. So we have the Eight of Cups, fairly self-explanatory. We have the High Priestess. So the Eight of Cups is walking away. And the High Priestess is like keeping, maybe what you're doing is working, Sag, maybe you're just detaching yourself and not really explaining yourself is working, or explaining it simply. We're going to get one more card from this deck, the other deck. Okay. Queen of Cups, haha, that's a good one to end on. And this Queen of Cups we see is actually really happy. You see this? She's standing by the sea. She looks like she's blissful. The waves are lapping around her. So this is, I think, about providing an example for people who are sad. I think this is about that you're actually showing people that it's possible, and we've got her right next to the Fool here, that it is possible to express those more nebulous sides of yourself, and turn it into something new, something radical, something that's going somewhere. It's like a redemption. I think what you're feeling is like, in your own chaos, organized chaos right now, you're almost like redeeming someone else's less organized, more disorganized, or sadder chaos. And that maybe they would have wanted you to do that, and maybe ultimately a part of them needs that to happen, needs for that energy to be flowing more freely in the world, you know, and that could help it, the energy flow more freely for them, whoever they are, you know. I really think, I really do have this strong feeling like you're providing a good example to others by showing how to have fun, showing others how to do it, which you often do with academic ideas and teaching others, but like you're showing others how to have a good time. But you're doing it very in line with your responsibilities, and you might even be doing it, you could be seriously pursuing your passion or thinking about it, or seriously, or even, as I said before, even like a kind of partitioning off your responsibilities from your passion and saying, okay, screw it, the day is over, it's done. There's this energy of like someone who's like leaving work every day at 5 p.m. and they're not staying a moment later, and they're not working more. And then at first everyone's like, who's this person who refuses to answer emails after 5 o'clock or whatever? You know, who do they think they are? But after a while, you set like a really good example for other people to actually just like have a life, have their own life. So this is what I got for you, Sagittarius. I really hope it helped you. I think it's a really positive reading, and I think whatever you're doing is working, and I think you might not know what you're doing, and I think it could involve a lot of experimentation, and it could even involve like getting a bit shit-faced or out of your mind, or doing something offbeat. But I think it's coming together, and I think you've got people in your corner, you've got mentors, you've got an idea of structure, you've got maybe some idea of something you want to study, or some way you want to get out of the rat race. It could even be a financial idea as well. So I'm really happy for you, and happy birthday all those Sun Sagittariuses and all the rest of you, everyone. Wishing you my very best, and all the love and all the luck.